Hi everyone, Mike Stuchiner Master Herbalist here. And as always, you know who I'm with. Co-host, sidekick, homeboy, Bones. The Boner, aka Bonerlicious. Stay tuned because I'm guessing within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we might have a third co-host or a second co-host, which I guess will make this a threesome. A ménage à trois. Okay, so moving on. Today's topic of discussion of this video is going to be about answering a really cool question that I seem to get quite often. I really enjoy, and I should say I really enjoy and have a lot of fun when it comes to these telling you about questions that I've gotten over the years as an herbalist and answering them in a video. So the question was, do I consider herbs to be foundational? Now, I guess before I'm to answer a question like that, we should have a pretty good understanding, and I should define what is meant by foundational. Okay, so foundational in this scenario or in this aspect has a lot more to do with whether or not it is based on a deficit. So if we're in a deficiency and we need to make up for a deficiency, then it's considered fundamental. If we're talking about things that are considered fundamental to good health that are absolutely irreplaceable, we're talking about quality sleep, not just quantity, because you could sleep 8-9 hours and have garbage sleep, and therefore you're not getting the quality of sleep. There's sleep, there's hydration, quality hydration, there is quality food, and then there's movement. And movement, of course, a lot of people, when they think movement, they think stuff like, swimming, walking, hiking, things of that nature. And that's all great, but I am a believer, maybe it's because I'm a former competitive powerlifter, I'm still a believer that once you get into your teen years, from that point until you're dead, some type of strength or resistance training is a necessity, okay? I'm not saying you have to go out and lift 800-pound stones, but some type of resistance training is necessary if you want to really be as healthy as possible. So with that said, if we're basing our definition of what is fundamental based off of those 4 factors and the deficiency scenario, then I'm going to quote several people in my life who've made really funny jokes about this. So one is a psychiatrist that I know that said he's never met a person who is depressed or anxious who has a Xanax deficiency or who has a Prozac deficiency, okay? Number 2, some of my fellow herbalists have always said, well, I've never met someone who has a rhodiola deficiency or a St. John's wort deficiency or any other herbal-based deficiency. So if we're basing on deficiencies, then the answer is no. These are not foundational. These are not substitutes for making up for deficiencies and for, more importantly, it does not replace what I would call acing those 4 fundamental things: the sleep, the hydration, the food, and the movement. Those are your 4 basic fundamental things and foundational things that must be mastered, okay, by all definition, okay? If you really want to be healthy, you must master those 4 things. And then by adding in herbal medicine and nutraceuticals and things like that, that's when you're going to take things to a new level, okay? Because the reality is that you can't out-supplement a bad diet. You can't out supplement the fact that you didn't get enough sleep, okay? You take herbs to support healthy sleep patterns, healthy sleep habits, or even more importantly, you take herbs to support and minimize the reasons why you're not able to sleep, okay? But we don't take herbs, for example, to make up for not sleeping, okay? Because that's a quick fix, and that's not how herbs work. Herbs are not meant to be used as a quick fix, okay? They're used to build a stronger foundation and to take you to another level of health, okay? So if you have a bad diet and you don't sleep well, and you don't hydrate and you don't move, you could take as much rhodiola as you want. Will it work? Of course it will work. No one's saying it won't work. It's foolish to think it won't work. But here's the difference. Will you get the maximum benefit from it? No. Absolutely 100% no. If all the other things are not in place, you're not going to see the maximum benefit from what you're taking. Okay? Now, with that said, I think it's important to also understand that I don't think that the question of whether herbs are foundational is a simple yes or no answer. Because when we look at it from a bird's eye point of view, from a distance, I would probably say that more than likely it is very, very true, okay? But the problem is that herbs can have what's known as foundational supportive properties, okay? Which means that herbs can be used to support those foundational things, okay? And it's a little bit like the idea of the category, which I'll be doing a video on in the near future, adaptogens, okay? There are true adaptogens, and then there are herbs that are, let's say, maybe nutritive tonics or other things that have adaptogen-like qualities. And they're categorized as whatever they are with adaptogen-like qualities only because they didn't fulfill the exact criteria to be defined as an actual adaptogen. Do you see the difference? There's a very big difference between the two, between being a true adaptogen and being a plant that has adaptogen-like qualities. Well, if that's the case, and that is a possibility, which it absolutely is, not just a possibility, it's just simply the truth, then the reality is that even though herbs may not be necessarily considered what you call foundational, herbs can have foundational supportive properties. So to say straightforward as a flat out no that herbs are not foundational, that's where I kind of will argue that idea. That to me is the wrench in the wheel or the pin in the hole, you know, where it's not very clear cut that they're not foundational, because herbs absolutely have many foundational properties to them. Again, if we're talking about deficiency things, a good example of that is you could take maca root, which is very nutrient dense, to make up for deficiencies. You can use other nutritive herbs like nettle leaf or dandelion or alfalfa, which are also known as nutritive herbs and very nutrient dense. So again, I just want to be clear, okay? From a bird's eye view, looking down at the bigger picture, it's very easy for people to sit and say, well, they're not foundational because you can't use them to make up for a lack of sleep, a lack of good nutrition, a lack of hydration, and a lack of movement. 100% across the board true. But they do have foundational-like qualities that can support all of those things as well. So I hope I haven't confused you too much, and if I have, guess what? It's all right, because so am I. I'm just kidding. No, seriously. I hope I haven't confused everybody by doing this video. I thought it was a really interesting question. that I've gotten more than a few times, and I thought it would be fun to do a video on it. So, Mike Stuchiner Master Herbalist, Bones the Sidekick. Till next time.